You're listening to the Geriatric Mamas Podcast with Jessica Raziri
and Sonia Tapley. At some point over the week, he bought me champagne because he knows that we normally will partake on Sundays. And so he brought it in from the car last night. And he's like, see, I told you would want it.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I don't have anything here. I'm drinking.
I should have warned you. I feel like this is my bad because you always tell me when you're going to have something. And then I'm over here dropping the ball.
Well, it's throwing me off because it's like usually Saturdays when I go to the grocery store and that's when I get stuff because we record on Sunday, but we're recording on a Saturday. And like I work all day Friday and then it's like I went out last night, which I never do, which we'll talk about in a little bit. So, but it's honestly for the best that I don't have anything because I have so much shit I need to do today I haven't started packing. I have laundry to do. I have to clean out the suitcases that have been in the attic for a year. So I'm sure they're disgusting. And after your incident with friggin' Lucas the spider in your fucking boot, I'm all like sorts of freaked out about what the hell is living in the suitcases.
Have something ready and available, like a shoe so you can hit it or whatever.
I think I'm just gonna like take it and immediately just throw them outside and then just start fucking hosing them off, assuming there's shit on there. I don't know. I can't even handle that. So yeah, I can't be litty titty today. And I'm also just like not mentally in the right headspace from going out last night. So I just would not be at all.
No. But all of your stuff that you're doing is exciting because it means that on like next week you're gonna be here. Like in a few days.
This is the last recording of us apart for a while.
And I keep reminding Mike, like, this is the last like weekend you're gonna see me. For like 4 weeks.
So dramatic. I love it.
Like you're gonna see me at Annabelle's birthday party, but like other than that.
I know. I haven't broken the news to my parents yet that it's like this trip is basically so you guys can babysit Hayden for 4 weeks while I spend time with Sonia because that's
work.
Really what this is about.
Yeah. I'm gonna be working and spending time with my BFF who I also have a podcast with. Yeah. And so we technically need to get a lot of shit done.
Yeah.
So much shit.
We're gonna get so much shit done. We're gonna be so productive.
Yeah. Luteal phase will be ending probably like a few days. So you'll have happy Sonia for the majority of your visit.
I think I might be phasing
for some reason
I get there.
Yes, off. I think you will be
like
because
when you're off, I'm on.
And the reason why is because we're not physically in the same space as each other. So like for a while after like our June visit last year, like we were in the same like cycle. We just like synced up immediately.
Yeah.
I wonder if it happened for the other girls. I don't know.
You know what? That would actually be a good episode or maybe just like a segment to dissect that a little bit. Because why is that? It's kind of creepy.
It is so creepy.
You could have like a totally normal cycle. You could be like, have your own thing. And then you meet up with friends or a group of girls and all of a sudden everybody's cycle starts syncing up the same. Why the fuck is that?
It's so weird.
So creepy. Yeah. It's like we all have like magnetic charges inside of us and then they all just like connect and then they just start being one with each other and it's just so weird. I don't get it.
It's so weird. Also, when I was really close friends with one of my work friends and we would have to room with each other before COVID, we would just all of a sudden sync with each other. Like this is so weird. She would be like on her normal cycle and all of a sudden I would just start my period in an odd time. And it was so weird. And I think it's just physical presence. It's not like how close you are, like outside of like your physical location. It's you have to be in the same location as the person. It's so weird.
Didn't we do something a while back where we were talking about if one woman is pregnant, if you have two women who are pregnant and let's say they're around the same time, like they're like 8-9 months or whatever, and if you have one that goes into labor that the other could also go into labor. Yeah. I wonder if that's also connected.
It probably is. That's so interesting. We need to do a whole episode on syncing. Just like not like the cycle syncing, but like syncing with your
like bodies.
Like, yes, body syncing. Yeah. That's
crazy.
That's a good idea.
Write that down.
It's in my notes.
Awesome. Well, I had I had a really fun night last night.
Mm-hmm.
My sister-in-law and I, well, actually it's from all the kids, but it was my sister-in-law and I are the ones that really moved forward with making it happen. But we, for Christmas, gifted my mother-in-law tickets to see Luann from Real Housewives of New York, her cabaret show. She was playing at the House of Blues. And so we gifted her that so she could go see her live. And she was like, it was so funny because at Christmas we did like clues to it. So first gift, we had her open an apple because it's like the Big Apple, New York. And so she's like so confused and she's like, well, I don't understand. We're like, it's a clue. Like you need to like open all your gifts, put together the clues and see if you can figure out what it is, like what your gift is. And she's like, okay. And then the second clue was, we were going to have like all these clues. We ran out of time, but the second one was I got like just fake pearls, like toy dress up pearl necklaces,
Mm-hmm.
and then like Monopoly money, and just had it in a box. And she was just like, she's like the apple, she's like New York. And I was like, okay. And then she was like looking, she's like, I don't know. And she's looking at the money, she's looking at the pearls, and she's staring at everything. And I was like, what do pearls represent? She's like, elegance. And I was like, what else? She's like, class. And I was like, and then she looked at the money. She's like, money, class. Money can't buy you class. Luann, we're going to see Luann. We're like, yeah. Like, I was shocked she put it together pretty quickly.
Yeah.
I was just like, yes. So that's how we told her. And then it was like, because obviously we gave her that in December, Christmas morning. And now here we are in May, finally. Like, it felt like it took forever.
Yeah.
But we went last night. We Ubered down. And she was so funny. Like, she was just like so excited about everything. She was just like having the best time. Of course, there were like Real Housewives from Dallas were there. Cause like I was thinking about it. And a few years back, we went and saw Erica Jane when she was out here. And there were also some Dallas housewives there as well. And I was just like, okay, like maybe they're friends. But I was thinking about it. It makes so much sense that they would go because that's their audience. Like everybody in that auditorium knows who those bitches are. So like, of course they're going to go to that. And so it's like, even though it's a show for Luann, you have people lining up to get pictures with like Cameron and fucking Leanne. I'm not a fan of Leanne.
Yeah.
I got dragged into a photo with her. I will not be posting that. But my mother-in-law got a selfie with Cameron Westcott, who was just like the sweetest, like exactly how you see her on TV. She's like that in person. Like, it might be fake, I don't know, but it makes you feel nice. So who cares? Like, she's just like the sweetest. My mother-in-law like starts talking to her, and then all of a sudden I see like them leaning in for a selfie, and I got like a behind the scenes photo of it happening. I'm like, and I'm texting Courtney. I was like, Robin's getting a selfie with Cameron right now. She's like, shut up. And I was like, get ready for the photo. It's coming. And I look up, and then I see Cameron holding Robin's phone because Cameron has longer arms, and I guess Robin was like, can you help me?
Oh, that's so cute.
She's like, oh, I got it. And so she like holds it out. It's like the most adorable photo. And then all of a sudden, like, Courtney gets that photo. So she got the behind the scenes. She knew it was happening, and then she gets the photo right away. She's like, oh my God.
That's amazing. I love
She's like,
that.
it's like, you bitches win Christmas, like best Christmas gift award. And I was like, yay, winning. I was like, mission accomplished. Done.
Those experience gifts are the absolute best.
Oh,
and
I love experience gifts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. When she announced on Real Housewives of New York that she was going to do this cabaret show years ago, I was like, okay, first of all, you have like the manliest voice of all the housewives. I don't understand. Like, I can't picture you being a singer. And even Sonia was like, she's like, Lou, you're not a singer. I don't know why you're. And she's just like, you don't have to be a singer. It's cabaret. And I actually didn't know what cabaret was, so I wasn't really getting it. And I remember her explaining it on the house. She's like, it's comedy, and you tell jokes, and you tell stories, and then you sing, and it's a variety show basically. And like, I remember all the ladies, including myself, were just like, I don't get it. And then when I was there and I was looking around the room, she clearly was not lip syncing. Clearly. Part of me was like, maybe she should have, but it's okay. It's fine. I appreciated that she wasn't. She's like, money can't buy a class. Her like raspy, deep voice. And it's just like,
Yeah.
woo, Lou, okay. But I was looking around the room and just watching her, like she looked like she was having so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like the audience is laughing, everybody's like engaging and having fun. And I realized I'm like, that's what it's about. Like
Yeah.
that's the vibe. That's what she was trying to explain. Like, and I really think I haven't looked it up, but I kind of feel like cabaret shows were bigger back in like maybe like the
Mm-hmm.
20s or 30s. Like it was
Mm-hmm.
more, it's definitely an old school style of entertainment. But it was funny. Like she was playing the fucking bongos at one point. Like she played Mary Fuck Kill. You know that game, right? Marry F Kill. Like if it's like for a girl, 3 guys, or guy like 3 girls, women, or whatever, 3 people. And then it's like you have to like choose one that you would marry, choose one that you would fuck, and then choose one that you would kill. And so like the audience was like giving like examples of, Tom Sandoval, Tom Schwartz, or Jax.
Oh
And she's like,
no.
yeah, that was one of them. And she was just like, well, I feel like everybody in the audience wants me to kill Sandoval, but I don't know. I'd fuck him. He's hot. Like, I don't care. She's like, I'd fuck him. She's like, maybe I'll kill him after I fuck him, but I would definitely fuck him. And then
Mm-hmm.
she was just like, I don't know, Mary Jax maybe. And the whole room is like, no.
No.
She's like, I clearly don't really know enough about
He's
these
a
guys.
kill. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
well,
Did I
that's what
just say that on a
everybody
podcast?
said that. Everybody said
Okay.
that in the audience.
Okay.
Everybody's like, no, you kill him. And it's
Yeah.
funny because we all saw how it played out marrying Schwartz. He's definitely not marriage material, but like that's who people were like, I guess
Yeah.
marry
He's
Schwartz.
the default.
He's the default. Yeah. So, but it was funny. It was definitely a good time. But yeah, I definitely partook in some alcoholic beverages.
Yeah.
It was mama's night out.
Mm-hmm.
Ladies went
That
wild.
looked like so much fun.
It was fun. It was fun. And it was like so cute seeing, because when you first get into the venue, you're automatically like on the top floor, basically. And so when we walked in and we showed the people like our seats, like where we are, they're like, oh, you're down. You're all the way down. You're on the floor. And the thing about House of Blues, like all the ones that I've gone to, there's not a bad seat in the house. Like it's a great venue because it's not super large where like if you're in the quote unquote nosebleeds, then it's like a horrible seating.
Yeah.
Even if you're in the nosebleeds, it's still really good seating because it's not very big. So any seat in the house is going to be amazing. But we weren't in the fucking nosebleeds.
Yeah.
We sprung for the mill, okay?
Yeah.
And so we didn't tell her what the seats were. And so they were like, oh, down, you're on the bottom floor. So we walk in and it says VIP. She's like, what? What? And she's looking all over, and Rachel and I are like dying laughing. And then he's like, somebody starts escorting us to where we're going, and we're getting closer and closer and closer. And she's like, and she's looking all around. She's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, the stage, it's right there. The stage is right there. We're like, we can see it. We're aware. We're like, you're going to see her sweat. She's like, yes, I am. And like just seeing her so excited and like just in awe of everything was like truly the best. Like it was the cutest thing. We're like, okay.
That's
glad
amazing.
You're enjoying this, but it was fun. It was good. We wore all black. We had fancy-ish pink boas that were literally leaving a trail of feathers everywhere we went. So definitely weren't committing any crimes last night because the evidence was there of who probably did it. So it was fun. It was a good time.
It looked amazing. I know. You've been thinking about this for a while now, so it was good to see it come to life. That's for sure. I mean, it was such a quiet week. I feel like I've been saying that for weeks and weeks, but we've been trying to get Annabelle back into gymnastics. And so I checked my email on Saturday morning at like 9 o'clock to see if they were like, yes, you can come to Saturday's gymnastics class at 10:15. And lo and behold, yes, we were like finally off the waiting list, and we got into our gymnastics class on Saturdays. And so I had an hour and 15 minutes to get Annabelle out the door and myself, like looking presentable. And so we
wait, so you didn't find out that it was happening until like that day?
Yeah, like an hour and 15 minutes before the class started. So we got out the door like a half hour before the class started, miraculously looking like decent. And then I ended up getting off the wrong exit and I had to take an extra like 20 minutes to get there. So like we got there basically as the class was starting, and then we get in there and the coach looks super familiar and he's like doing the warm up. And like in our old Wednesday class that we used to go to, there were just kids running around screaming, hollering. Like this class, everyone was sitting in a circle, prim and proper, and they all had their own spots on like little mats and everything. And there were 2 open mats, so we like grabbed our spot, and Annabelle knew like she needed to listen to her coach and her mama. So we sit down on these mats, and like it's dawning on me that the reason why this coach looks familiar is because he was my tumbling coach for cheerleading back in high school. And so
that is crazy.
Annabelle's whispering to me because our old coach was a girl and she was like endearing, like she was really sweet, and like she didn't really there was no structure to the class that we were in before. Like everybody was just running around like crazy people. Well, the Saturday 10:15 class is very on point. Everybody knows what they're doing. Like the parents are like, my daughter's a professional at such and such, like the bars or the mat or the trampoline. And like this is level 1 in the jungle gymnastics. So like we're not professional anything, but it was hilarious. So Annabelle sits down and she's next to me and she's like doing the splits and everything. And she's like, why is my coach a man? And I'm like, honey, your old coach only coaches on Wednesday. I'm like, this is mommy's old coach. She's like, what? Mama? You went gymnastics? I'm like, yeah, honey. So she's like, oh. And then we like, they always start off with this obstacle course where you have to do like a whole bunch of things. There's like balance beams, headstands, and then the coach helps them do a backwards or a forward somersault. So we do the whole obstacle course and we do the headstand, the balance beams, yada. We get through it. We get to the somersault and she doesn't know this person. And I do. She doesn't know him and she like starts clinging to my leg. She's like, Mama, you do it. And I'm like, honey, it's coach's turn to help you. And so finally, like we went around the obstacle course 3 times, skipping the somersault because she was clinging to my leg every time she saw this new coach. And finally, the 3rd time, she decided to like give him a chance. And then she like fell in love with him because he's so sweet and you just can't help but like love him. So she did a somersault with him. And then when we got up to the actual jungle, she like just felt like she was like, okay, coach, you can teach me to do whatever. So I think it's going to go well. Today, since we're recording, I had Mike take her to gymnastics. And I was like, babe, you have to remember, this isn't just like when you go and sit and watch at swim class on Sundays.
Like you're involved.
Right. You're actually doing the gymnastics. You're running laps. You're making sure.
God. That's your motive. That's actually your motive of making him go.
Yeah. You're running laps. You're making sure she doesn't go on the trampolines while other classes are on the trampolines. You're making sure she's not scaling the walls because you can't get up there as fast as she can and she'll fall and die. Like you're making sure she stays alive and also following the rules. So he's like, oh, I got it. No problem. So
Has he taken her before?
No, this was his first gymnastics class today. And I called him and I was like, how was it? And he was like, it was so fun. And I was like, oh, thank God you liked it. And he was like, yeah. And I was like, how was she with Coach Paul? And he was like, she let him do whatever. So I guess she's over her fear.
Good.
She really loved her old coach. So I think she was just at first in her first class, A, she was getting to know him, and B, she was disappointed because she missed her old coach. But like, you know, they get like stamps and stickers.
That's normal. Yeah. It's just like a normal thing. Like I think it's just like you get in the habit of something that this person's familiar. And then I think it's a normal thing for kids to like just feel more comfortable around a woman too,
Right.
like boy or girl, like, because
Yeah.
it's like the motherly kind of vibe and you feel safer. And,
Yeah.
you know, it's just, I think it's normal.
Yeah. And I do love that this class is really structured because they get a lot more help and they learn so much more when the teacher has like a set of rules and like they make sure they get to experience all the equipment and they're not just running around the room like psychopaths. It's really nice. I was actually shocked that it was the same level class of what we had originally been going to. So
That's awesome.
yeah, it was really good.
Go, Annabelle, go.
Yes. So, this episode, we're going to be diving into some of the latest fertility and longevity information we've come across in news articles online. Also, sportscaster Erin Andrews is teaming up with Enfamil to announce a $50,000 commitment to Baby Quest. And the patients of a shuttered fertility clinic are shocked to learn the man who treated them was not a licensed doctor. We have so much to get into today, but first, before we do, here's a little disclaimer from our last Coffee Convos episode that we did when we talked about me using psyllium husk to feel more full before eating. So California has a proposition. It's Proposition 65, which is an act that requires manufacturers to include carcinogen warnings on products with contaminant levels above predetermined thresholds. Most plants are exposed to contaminants in the field, a direct result of environmental pollution. Plants with elevated contaminants usually have lead or heavy metals such as arsenic. The pure psyllium husk product that I recommended and have listed in the show notes is 100% organic. However, the description does have the California Proposition 65 information listed. For psyllium husk products in general, there's little evidence that they are any worse than other plant-based food products. The psyllium husk cancer warning is perhaps more visible in similar warnings on imported rice or other readily available products, and that comes from lesscancer.org. According to everydayhealth.com, a potential side effect of psyllium, aka Metamucil, is that it can swell in your throat and cause choking if you don't take it with enough liquid. So fiber in general, not like from vegetables, like when you're eating broccoli or whatever, but like when you're taking actual fiber itself, it's important to drink basically a ton of liquid because the fiber can get stuck in your throat, and then when you drink water it can expand, so it's important to drink it in general with a bunch of water. So basically when I drink my psyllium, it's with at least 8 ounces of water, probably more. I take it with like a tall glass of water.
Why don't you just say like what is actually happening here? And that is that you are actually trying to kill everybody.
I am
trying to kill us all.
not trying to kill everyone. I am just trying to drop 20 pounds before Labor Day. No big deal. No big deal.
So I think that I need to actually do a little insert of a rewind from that episode when I asked you point blank, what does it taste like? Does it taste like anything? And you were like, nothing. It doesn't taste like anything. I just mix it with water and it's totally fine. Just throw it back. It's
because
great.
I'm chugging it. I'm not like tasting it. I'm not like, ooh, this is delicious.
I tried chugging that shit. First of all, it is fucking disgusting. What it tastes like is like ground up dirt and grass. Like it's gross. Second of all, it turns into this like gelatin thick weird substance. And I did chug it very quickly, and I put it with a recommended amount of water, which is like 8 ounces of water. And like halfway through of throwing this back, it's like getting really thick. And when I finished, I noticed that my throat was feeling kind of like tingly, and I didn't think anything of it. And I was like, whatever. And I like wait like an hour or two. I'm still feeling hungry. Nothing's happening. I text Sonia. I was like, I'm still fucking hungry. What the hell? She's like, drink more. So I make another glass of it. At this point, I'm fucking gagging because this shit is so disgusting. And I'm like, I can't do this again. I need to put it in a fucking smoothie or something because like I can't. So I put it with like bananas and strawberries, which aren't fucking cheap. So I can't be like buying round the clock bananas and strawberries to have a fucking smoothie every time I'm going to drink this shit. So I like make a smoothie, put it in a smoothie, I drink it, and I can still kind of like taste it a little bit because now I know what flavor to look for. So I know it's in there. And I finish it and like my throat was still feeling kind of tingly, didn't really think anything of it. Well, later that night, I like didn't have any more after that because I was like, I just can't. Like I don't notice it's doing anything. And so then I just looked at the product a little bit more because I'm like, let me read the reviews. Like, what are other people saying about this? And everybody was saying, like, tastes like dirt, tastes how you would imagine it would taste, like, tastes like, literally everybody was describing it as tasting like dirt. And then I like noticed this little disclaimer, and it was like something about like choking hazards. And then I noticed something about could cause cancer. So I messaged Sonia and I was like, bitch, you trying to kill me? Like, what the fuck is this? And she's like, what the hell? So then it sparked her to like look into it more because like WTF. Oh my God.
So this disclaimer is so crazy because there are so many people mad about it because anybody in California who buys something, whether it be in person or online, if they buy something plant-based, there basically has to be this disclaimer on it because they have to be warned that there could be like pesticides on the product, which obviously we all know the reason why we buy it organic is because of pesticides, because it's a carcinogen and because it can cause birth defects. So I was like, she's having a panic attack over there in Texas.
That was another thing too. Is it can cause cancer, can cause birth defects, can cause choking.
Yeah,
and I'm just like, what? We recommended this shit. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Like,
I'm like, she's having an absolute panic attack, and we've posted this everywhere because obviously I'm taking it as basically a preload with zero. Yeah, it has 0 calories, and I'm preloading with it. And she's over there having a panic attack. And I'm like, okay, we need to figure this out. So I basically figured out that California has to tell everybody that things in the field could potentially have pesticides on them. However, the one that I have listed in the show notes is completely organic. And I don't know if it's been contaminated or not. I'm sure like everybody has their opinions about the soil these days. I follow that because I used to be very plant-based and all that.
You can taste the fucking soil. It's disgusting.
I know. Jessica, so I have a threshold for pain. I have a threshold for like things that a lot of people are intolerant to. If I set my mind to lose weight via preloading, I'm going to do it. And if it's going to, like, if I'm going to put it in with my vitamins that subtly taste like raspberries, I'm going to chug it down and feel like it was fine. Or if I'm going to put it in my vitamin C that tastes like orange juice, I'm going to do that and I'm going to be fine. So basically, if you are somebody who like really doesn't like any kind of like a flavor, I guess, that doesn't have an actual flavor, put it in a smoothie like Jess did, and you'll get like a few more calories than
like,
what I did.
I can handle, like, just for the record, I can handle like a green smoothie or something that like tastes like grass or tastes super healthy. Like, that doesn't bother me. Like, and maybe had I like went into it expecting it to have some kind of weird mild flavor, like that would have been different. But that is not the expectation that was set. The expectation that was set is that it has no flavor. You can mix it in with water and it's totally fine. And instead, what I got was like a gelatin dirt mixture. And
I guess going forward, just know that Sonia has a very high threshold for pain.
Apparently.
And I don't mean to talk in third person, but if you're just joining the podcast, that's who I am. I'm Sonia.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you coming clean about this.
You're welcome.
Okay, so moving on. Erin Andrews says she's found comfort in being really honest about fertility and motherhood, exclusive from people.com by Angela Andalero. Erin Andrews says she's found being vulnerable about fertility struggles, IVF, surrogacy, and now mom life has afforded her a new community. She's raising awareness of the struggles many families face in welcoming children. The Emmy-winning sportscaster, 45, is teaming up with the Infamil Inspire Optimum to announce a $50,000 commitment to BabyQuest, an organization that provides financial assistance to those who cannot afford the high costing of fertility treatment. treatments. Andrews says her fertility journey, which included several unsuccessful rounds of in vitro fertilization, IVF, before turning to surrogacy, has helped her learn to be more open and honest about her experiences. I'm proud of myself for that because for a long time we looked at it as almost an embarrassment. We were ashamed, I think, because so many people don't talk about it. And then I was in a mood. I had pumped so many hormones in myself from IVF for the last 9 years. I was like, I'm so sick of being quiet about this. I just want to talk publicly, she shares. I was very fortunate that I was able to do that, and I got some attention, and I feel like it really provided some relief and some normalcy and comfort to people that were struggling, she continues. Since becoming a mom to son Mac 10 months, Andrews has learned what there is to gain from being honest about the highs and lows of the journey to and through parenthood. It really does test a marriage. It tests your mental strength. It tests people in a lot of ways. I've learned that you can't be afraid to ask for help, Andrews shares. Yeah, I think there's so much truth to that. Like, it's one of those things that unless you're really going through it and unless you like begin having to go through the whole journey of fertility treatments and stuff, you don't really recognize how taboo it is still, because there definitely was that layer of, without realizing it, embarrassment and shame and not wanting to talk about it, not wanting people to know that I was struggling. And like, I just, no, I got this. It's fine. Like, I'm supposed to be able to do this. Like, it's okay. And then when you realize like you don't got it or you don't think you do and you do need some help, and then realizing that there is this whole like hidden community that you didn't know about because you don't know about it until you need it. And I think it's probably like that with everything too. You know, there's communities for everything that isn't really spoken about a lot. And so it was nice feeling when I'm reading like bloggers and stuff, and then all of these friends that would come forward and share their struggles too, and just realizing that you're not alone. And when I started opening up and talking about it more, that was helpful as well. And I don't know why I was so afraid to talk about it and open up about it. But like when I did, it was just crazy how much support was actually there when I was being willing to accept it and be open to it.
Yeah. I feel like I just always talked about it like it was mainstream information. I don't know why. I really have
I
no
mean, it's
idea.
not anything to be embarrassed about. It's just like, I think it's just me like feeling like, I don't know, like I've just always been that way. Like, I don't like to talk about, I don't like to like let people, the world know when I'm struggling or when things aren't okay. Like, I don't like letting people in on that stuff. I
Yeah.
like to just keep it hidden. I like to just keep it close. And so I think I was trying to do it with that too. And then without realizing it, like, I think I was a little ashamed also and embarrassed about it. Like, I think for me, like a lot of it was because of my age too. I felt like it was like going to be that whole thing of like, well, what did you expect? You're 97 years old and you're trying to have a kid. Like, obviously you're going to struggle, you know? Like, I think to me, that's what I assumed the world was thinking. And so I was embarrassed that way, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. My mind does all these weird things and convinces me of all this shit that's happening that's not actually happening. So
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't know. I feel like when I first shared with people, the first thing I remember is sharing it with like work people and saying that I was probably going to need to do IVF because when I was younger, the doctors told me I had endometriosis, which makes it hard to have kids, and I would probably have to do IVF or whatever. And like, I never really took it to like be a serious, I don't know why, I just never really took it to be this huge deal. Like, I just felt like it was so common, and now we're in all of this and we realize it's so much more common than we know. It's not just because we're geriatric mamas. I mean, that is a huge part of it, but it's just like a widespread thing.
Do you think that because when you were told that you have and I can never say this word,
I know.
endometriosis, there it is. Pretend I said it beautifully. Do you think that because you were told you had that in a young age and you were told that you're probably going to struggle, that it like prompted you sooner before you even started thinking of having kids to start looking into IVF, and you probably uncovered this whole community of like infertility warriors and stuff like years ago before you even started trying. So then when you finally started trying and like IVF just wasn't so foreign to you because
Yeah.
you had already like mentally accepted that that's probably what is needed.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think maybe that,
It
because to
definitely,
me, like
I think it
I didn't
helped.
consider having to do,
Yeah.
I didn't think I was going to have any struggle at all for whatever
Mm-hmm.
reason. I
Yeah, no,
just
I think it
assumed.
definitely helped the situation because for me, when I would say that out loud, it sounded just like a general thing that happens to people. But when
Hmm.
I said it to other people, the other people didn't take it the same way. They took it as like, well, maybe not. Like, maybe you could just get pregnant on your own and you wouldn't
Oh, I see
have
what
to
you're
worry about it. So,
saying.
like, maybe don't like worry about it so much. Like, the unsolicited advice that I got from other people was much more positive,
Hmm.
than like what I was told by the doctor. And so I was just like, yeah, okay, like cool. Like deep down knowing that like I
Yeah.
would probably have to do it. And then when like we went through the whole 4 years of trying naturally and nothing happened, deep down I was like, okay, well, like IVF is probably a sure bet because all I need is this, and this, and like then we'll
Hmm.
have our baby and it's fine.
It's interesting too. That's actually a really interesting point because it's like you've already mentally accepted that IVF is probably going to be a thing, but then it's like
Mm-hmm.
getting that unsolicited advice where, in a way, even though they're trying to be really positive, it's like in
Mm-hmm.
a way they're kind of looking down on IVF, of like, oh no, you don't need
Yeah,
to do
you don't
that.
really need to
You
do
don't need
that.
to do that. Like, God,
Yeah,
no, you're not
right,
that bad. You're good.
right.
Like without meaning to, like that probably
Yeah,
wasn't what they intended, but to me, that's what I would have heard.
right.
I
It
would have
was,
looked at it and been like, oh, like that's a
yeah,
bad thing. You don't want me to do that because it's a
right.
bad thing.
It
That
was
if
slightly
I had to do that.
invalidating. It was slightly invalidating, and it was like I was told that at probably the age of 14 when babies were not even in or on my radar. So,
Hmm.
like, back then, like, it wasn't that heartbreaking. It was just like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, that's a fact. Fine. And
Hmm.
like move on. And like someday I'll have to worry about this. And
Yeah.
I don't really know that that was actually the issue of what ended up making it so that we had to have IVF or not, but it was something that I had accepted. So,
I just like love it when more and more people are speaking out about this. And,
yeah.
it's like, I know we've said this over and over again, but it sucks that it has to take like celebrities or people in the spotlight, to make a change. But it's like, I am happy that they're using their platform for
Hmm.
good and not evil.
So, women with fertility problems are getting pregnant after using Ozempic, but more studies are needed. And this article comes from the Atlanta Journal Constitution and is written by Madison Muller. A surprising thing is happening to some women on weight loss drugs who've struggled with fertility issues. They're getting pregnant. That's leading to questions about the safety of medications from Novo Nordisk, AS, and Eli Lilly and Co. during pregnancy. I thought I couldn't have any more kids, said Toria Leggett, who's 40 and had been trying for another baby after her first child was born in 2018. In 2022, the social worker from Whiteville, North Carolina began taking Novo's Ozempic to treat obesity, then switched to Lilly's Mounjaro. As the pounds melted off, there was soon another reason to celebrate. She was expecting. So far, the safety data look promising. A recent study of the health records of 50,000 women with type 2 diabetes found no increase in birth defects around those who used the drugs in very early pregnancy compared with those who took insulin. Still, the study's authors said additional confirmation is needed, especially in women without diabetes. Researchers from Copenhagen concurred last year in a review of GLP-1 drugs, saying there's limited information on their long-term safety, particularly concerning pregnancy outcomes. Reasons for concern come mostly from animal experiments. The active ingredient in Novo's drugs, semaglutide, has been linked to increased birth defects in animals. Similar studies of Lilly's drugs have shown there may be risks to the fetus from exposure during pregnancy, the company said. No one is exactly sure how or even whether the drugs contribute to women becoming pregnant. Weight loss is known to boost fertility in women with PCOS, and studies have shown that Saxenda, an older obesity drug also raised pregnancy rates in women with the disorder who were overweight. GLP-1s may also have hormonal effects that promote fertility and may blunt the impact of contraceptives. Some experts think the drugs might even have a role in male infertility. So, Rekha Kumar, a reproductive endocrinologist at Weill Cornell Medicine, says GLP-1 drugs wake up ovaries, resetting the reproductive environment for normal function. After treating patients with infertility and obesity for more than 15 years, one thing is clear, Kumar said. These patients are becoming very fertile.
But
I
then this,
remember when you were going through Whole 30 and you were like, I feel like my weight loss, aka just being like a lower BMI in general, helped me to get pregnant, because I
Mhm.
remember you got pregnant so quickly when you first started trying for a baby and you were doing Whole 30.
Yeah, I was, because it's like, it's your wedding. You want to look hot as fuck. And I needed to do it quickly because, of course, I like waited till the last minute where I only had a few months left to suddenly get hot. But yes, I dropped a lot of weight and my skin looked better because I didn't have all that sugar. I wasn't getting as many headaches. I was sleeping better. I had more energy. Like, I felt really good. And when we came back from our honeymoon, we got pregnant like very quickly. Like, I basically stopped my birth control. Well, that's another part of it too, though. I don't know how much of it is because of Whole 30. It could have been a combination, but I also did research too that when you stop your birth control, there's also a spike in fertility as well. And
Mm-hmm.
so I had gotten off birth control, and then it was literally like that following cycle we got pregnant like right away. And then obviously we know the story about that. So I ended up going back on birth control because at that time it was like, well, we're actually kind of, not that I was happy that it didn't work out, but like we weren't ready. And then when I got off birth control again, I got pregnant right away again. So to me, I do think it was like obviously a combination of like my weight was lower, Whole 30, there was no inflammation fucking with shit in my system. So that
Mm-hmm.
was all, healthier. But then I also do think it was the birth control, I think, was playing in that as well.
Mm-hmm.
But what I was going to say is that when you were reading that whole thing, I was thinking about, I don't know if you watch the show, but like I watch Thousand Pound Sisters on
Mm-hmm.
TLC. Do you ever watch that show?
I used to a little bit, yeah.
So it's these two sisters. They're they're hilarious. I find them hilarious. And one of them, well, when they were both going through they're going through their weight loss journey together. One of them actually made it to the finish line where she got approved for the surgery, and she was telling the doctor how, like, her goals are, she wants to get married, she wants to have kids. And so the doctor told her, like, well, just letting you know, after you have this surgery and you drop like a bunch of weight, there's going to be a spike in your fertility. Like, you could get pregnant very quickly. And so you need to be careful of that, because he didn't want her to get pregnant right away, because he wanted her to wait a year after surgery to like lose more weight before
Mm-hmm.
she, and then also heal and stuff. Like, don't get pregnant right away. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm sharing that to say, I think while a lot of this probably, there is obviously, it sounds like scientific research about Ozempic, I think also like the bigger part of it too is like weight in general carries a lot when it comes to fertility,
Mm-hmm.
more so than what I think maybe a lot of
Mm-hmm.
doctors even realize. Because the fertility clinic that I was at, that was horrible before I switched, I knew at the time when I was really struggling to get pregnant, I was like 30 pounds over what I needed to be. Like, I wasn't
Mm-hmm.
considered overweight by any means, but like for me and my body type and what's comfortable for me, what I'm used to, it was a lot. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember like asking her, like, do you think that like if I were to like get my BMI lower, if I were to like, get back to where I feel like I should be, that would help? And she's like, well, what do you weigh? And like I told her, and she's like, oh no, you're fine. And I remember feeling like that wasn't accurate. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, no, I actually think if I were to lose 20 or 30 pounds, that I would be better. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
my AMH would be better. I don't know. So
Mm-hmm.
obviously, like, it probably is Ozempic. Like, there probably is some truth to that. But also, I think as well, when you lose a lot of weight, science has proven that there is a spike in fertility. So it's all connected.
Yeah, the BMI is huge. I think there's this whole thing going on about BMI because muscle contributes to that. And so healthy tissue is so different
Can you repeat
from.
that? Because you were moving and your foot hit something
Oh,
while you said it was the whole muscle
so
structure.
BMI is really important, but it's also affected, by like muscle and fat. So there's a whole difference between like healthy BMI influenced by muscle versus fat. So there's this whole thing going on, like this big debate about BMI because of healthy weight in muscle and fat. However, it's been proven now for so long that like having a lower BMI helps to contribute to fertility. And we all know that the body goes through so much work and effort when we have a higher BMI due to fat gain, because our kidneys, our heart, our liver, everything is working harder when we have a large, like an excess amount of body fat. So it makes it harder for our bodies to want to sustain a pregnancy. It makes it harder for us to actually be fertile. However, if our BMI is higher due to muscle, that could be a different story. But lower BMIs in general have definitely led to like higher fertility levels. So
Yeah. So it's not, if you're struggling with fertility, it's not necessarily because you're old. It could just be because you're fat. Is what we're saying, right?
Right, totally.
Just to be clear, the Cliff Notes, is that
I'll
what you
hit my
said?
microphone next time you say that. Bam! Just kidding. Let's face it, in America, when we have a high BMI, it's most likely not due to muscle mass. It's most likely
No,
it's most likely due to fat.
most likely due to the cheeseburgers.
Our body is too busy trying to maintain its fat levels to get pregnant. It's got too much to do. It's so busy. It can't sustain human life outside of the fat. So
no, it can't. And also too, when I think about it, I think when I did end up finally getting pregnant with Hayden, because it was in between IVF treatments, I think I had also just started, because I was like reading how it takes like 3 or 4 months for new eggs to like regenerate. And so I was like, okay, so if like these were the eggs that we were working with this month, now from this date to this date, I'm going to cut alcohol, I'm going to cut sugar, I'm going to cut and I was like eating like Mediterranean, and I think I had like dropped like 10 pounds, and I was eating like a lot of Mediterranean, a lot of like fertility yummy foods. And then that's when I got pregnant. And like I think there was a lot of contributing factors, but it's like I think there's something to be said for that also. It's like yeah, it was acupuncture, but then it was also like eating differently, losing some weight, all of that helped.
Right.
Spike.
Mediterranean is all about eating basically it's almost like the hunter-gatherer thing. It's like where you eat like the fruits, the vegetables from the gatherer, and then like what you can chase down and hunt in like the hunter aspect. So like you can have like salmon with spinach and sweet potato. And
I'm laughing because I just pictured you like
me
barefoot running through a field to catch a cow or something. I don't know. It was just like a really
I don't know
funny
that
image.
I could catch a cow. I think I would have
You
to
could
resort.
absolutely catch a cow. They
I
don't
could totally
fucking
catch a
move.
cow. I think I would have to
totally catch a
resort to
cow.
salmon. I don't even like salmon. God.
I feel like salmon is harder to catch than a fucking cow.
Really?
Cows don't move that fast, but I just like
I
for
could
some
shoot
reason.
a cow. I could probably shoot a cow. I don't know that I could catch a cow.
Oh, you could absolutely catch a cow.
Thank you.
I don't know
for
what
your
you would do with it
confidence.
once you caught it, but you could definitely catch a cow.
I'd be like, oh, it's so cute.
Exactly. Next topic. From neuroscience.com, serotonin boosts fertility. Researchers uncovered a crucial link between glucose levels, serotonin signaling, and fertility. By studying rats and goats, the team discovered that increased glucose availability stimulates serotoninogenic neurons. I'm leaving it like that. I can't say it any better than that. Enhancing the release of reproductive hormones via the activation of neurons.
Sorry. I came off mute to laugh, apparently.
I'm not doing that over, so I'm just going to cut you out because I can't do that again. I'm not doing that over. This finding not only deepens our understanding of the reproductive health, but also suggests potential treatments for fertility issues in people with depression. The research highlights the significant role of diet and serotonin in maintaining reproductive function and offers a new avenue of addressing depression-related infertility using SSRIs. Key facts: glucose and serotonin interaction. Elevated glucose levels in the brain stimulate serotonin release, which in turn activates Herceptin neurons, crucial for reproductive hormone release. Implications of reproductive health. The study explains the biological mechanism behind fertility issues relates to poor nutrition and provides insights into the decreased fertility observed in individuals with depression. Potential treatments. The findings suggest that SSRIs, commonly used to treat depression, could also enhance fertility by improving serotoninogenic, that's what it is, signaling, offering a dual-purpose treatment strategy. Disclaimer, I'm pretty confident that that word is made up. Serotoninogenic, I don't think that's a fucking word. There's no way. I'm not willing to accept that that's a word. So that is how I'm saying it. According to a new study led by designated associate professor Shu Nakamura and professors Hiroko Tsukamura and Satoshi Ahukura. We'll put those in the show notes. I promise you that is not how you say their fucking names. One of the main factors that affects a person's reproductive health is glucose availability. Nakamura and Tsukamura and their colleagues from the Graduate School of Bioagricultural Sciences and Nagoya University discovered that elevated glucose availability in rat brain stimulates serotogenic neurons. This causes the release of serotonin in the brain. Serotonin is an important neurotransmitter that affects the body and mind. It influences functions such as mood and behavior and psychological processes such as bone health and metabolism. When the researchers administered serotonin to goats' brains, it triggered the activation of the Herceptin neurons, which are the primary stimulator for the release of key reproductive hormones, such as gonadotropin, releasing hormones to the gonadotropins. We're just going to pretend that's how you say it. This will be in the show notes. I don't fucking know what any of those words are, but there you have it.
Yeah.
That was fucking painful. Like, not a scientist, definitely not a doctor, don't know these names. So
yeah, so basically, in summary, serotonin boosts our fertility. So seek serotonin.
Yeah.
There we go.
Just seek serotonin. That's what we gathered from all of that.
Right. So, like, try not to put too much insulin into your system, and you should be good to go. Yeah.
The end.
The end. With lots of scientific words that we don't know how to say. All right.
Can you get serotonin from like food or like supplements or anything?
You
or
get
is it, like,
serotonin from like basically kissing babies, from
so
eating.
it's like, that's what I was wondering. Okay,
Yeah.
so it's like release.
And from like eating sugar without your insulin fully taking over. So like, I know like we both have diabetic parents. And so like, say they weren't to take their insulin and they only had a slight overage of sugar and they didn't really need the insulin. So you know that euphoric state that they're in before they need to take their insulin, where they're like, la 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 la.
Yeah.
Like they're so happy. So basically it's like lowering your insulin level, but also keeping your sugar levels at a somewhat normal rate, like the balance.
You know what I just realized? I bet that's why when I have like the first couple sips of wine, why I'm instantly like happier and in a better mood.
It's so exciting. Yeah.
Like, oh, hello.
Yeah.
It's
Basically.
just like that serotonin hits.
It does. Oh, okay. So then we can add wine to the list.
Yeah, definitely
Yes.
add wine to that for sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, it doesn't need to be so scientific. I feel like they definitely made up
It was
words
so fucking
there.
scientific.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, in other news, parents of shuttered fertility clinic are shocked to learn the man who treated them was not a licensed doctor. So, this happened in Nashville, Tennessee. Stunning new allegations against the Nashville Fertility Clinic sued by Tennessee Attorney General. As reported, the Center for Reproductive Health abruptly shut its doors last month after failing to pay its employees. The sudden closure of the clinic left patients with a lot of questions. What would they do about their care going forward? And what would happen to the embryos that were stored in the clinic? Here's another one. Why did the man who treated so many of these women hold himself out to be a doctor when he's not? Sarah Davis and her husband share their home in Old Hickory with 5 rescue cats. They love their fur babies, but what they really long for is a real baby. And that dream to become parents is what led the couple to the Center for Reproductive Health last fall. Until recently, the Midtown Fertility Clinic boasted of being an innovator in IVF, infertility treatment, and genetic testing, and that it had helped thousands of patients worldwide realize their dreams of becoming a family. It was founded in 1995 by Dr. Jaime Vasquez, who is still a medical director, but Davis's appointments were with someone else at the clinic, someone employees referred to as Dr. Dyer. News Channel 5 Investigates has discovered that not only is Ferrer Dyer not a fertility doctor, but he is not even a licensed medical doctor. That is the only person I ever saw, Davis said. Davis said over the course of several months, Dr. Dyer analyzed her ultrasounds and lab work and came up with her treatment plan, including, she said, the fertility drugs she would take. But remember, in Tennessee, to treat patients, to hold yourself out as a doctor, you must be licensed by the state medical board. Again, Dyer was not. Davis and her husband paid thousands of dollars. Neither of their procedures worked. Now she questions it all. What we did not get was a medical procedure done by a medical doctor, and nothing else matters. Because even if the parts and pieces were all there, it was not done by somebody who is licensed to do that, Davis stated. It turns out not only does Dyer not have a medical license, but we found degrees from the medical school he claims he graduated from in England in 2008, St. Christopher's College of Medicine, are not recognized or accepted for licensure in either Britain or many states in the US, including apparently Tennessee. And Dr. Vasquez evidently knew all of this. In fact, his attorney told Dyer he couldn't pass part of the foreign medical student exam. Yet, Vasquez hired him and let him see patients. The attorney insisted that Dr. Vasquez did not authorize Dyer to tell patients he was a doctor. In the past, the Tennessee Medical Board has disciplined doctors for writing prescriptions for patients they haven't seen. Davis said he trusted that Dyer was a doctor and knew how to help her get pregnant. And he was like, this number plus this number means you're not ovulating at all, she recalled Dyer telling her. But her faith in him changed after she decided to try another fertility clinic. And our new doctor, she was just like, I don't know what he told you, but none of this seems correct. And she asked me his name, and I told her, and she was like, okay. But he's not a reproductive endocrinologist. And I said, wait, what? Davis said. The Metro Nashville Police Department has created a special email inbox where people can provide complaints and share information about possible criminal activity involving the Center for Reproductive Health. The email address is crhcomplaint@nashville.gov. Those emails will go directly to Special Victims Division of the Police Department. And this all comes from newschannel5.com.
Oh my God.
I know.
Could you imagine?
No.
Like going through all of that, being pumped with all these hormones, you're like, because you literally put so much trust into your fertility doctor. I mean, any doctor, but like especially your fertility doctor. And then all of a sudden to find out they're not even licensed or qualified to be doing that. It's just different.
And told that you're not ovulating by this doctor who's not even qualified.
Who doesn't even fucking actually know shit about it.
Right.
So this is like different, but this reminds me of, there's a documentary on Netflix called Bad Surgeon, Love Under the Knife. Have you seen it?
No.
So it's about this surgeon, Dr. I think it's Paolo. I'm not even going to try to say his name, but basically we all know how I am with names, but basically he had created these like plastic tracheas basically. And so he was like claiming that he had this like cure for people that had like cancers, like where they're in their trachea or whatever, had trachea issues, swallowing issues, wherever the fuck a trachea does, and that he could basically like fix them with these like these like plastic tracheas that he had created. But they weren't successful at all. People's bodies were rejecting them, but he was like speaking, and he was like supposed to be this like hero, and he was this amazing doctor that was saving lives, and so many people are actually dying a slow, painful death because of these things that weren't meant to be in your body. Completely different, but it kind of reminds me of that a little bit, because it's like people were putting so much faith and trust into this man who was not qualified to be doing shit. In fact, he was doing the opposite.
Yeah.
And wow, that is just fucking awful. That is scary. That shit is, that's
so
the type of stuff
scary.
that like, I mean, I can like watch a lot of like true crime and shit, but when it comes to stuff where it's like bad surgeons or doctors that are like actually killing you and like actually not qualified and malpractice, like that shit scares
Can
me
you
so
imagine
much.
if like that was the case
No.
for your first fertility blades, because you
I
had
wouldn't be
like
surprised.
zero luck there?
Honestly. Yeah. That shit just fucking terrifies me, the whole thing. Like, is he getting in trouble at all? Like,
Oh, I'm sure. I'm
okay,
sure
good.
he is. Well, I mean, first of all, the responsibility falls on the person who is like basically the owner of the clinic. So I'm sure it'll
Right.
fall
How
on
did
him.
that go? Like, because you're supposed to have like, even the like the janky fertility place I went to first, they had their degrees like displayed and stuff. I mean, I guess it could be a forged degree, but I don't know.
Yeah. No, they're definitely getting in trouble.
Yeah, they need to. So this next article makes me feel like I have a superpower. Giving birth later on may mean you live longer, says studies from people.com by Anna Helkadis. That's probably not how she says her name, but it's how I'm saying it today. Apologies. New research finds that women who give birth at an older age may live longer, and here's why. As the number of women have kids 30 and over is on the rise, a new study suggests they may have an advantage, a longer life. The research published in October 2020 in Menopause, the Journal of North American Menopause Society, NAMS, found that those who delivered their last child at an older age were likely to have longer telomeres. To break down the science, telomeres are described as DNA protein complexes that protect the ends of chromosomes. They are considered a biomarker of long-term health and longevity. Shorter telomeres have been linked to more disease and poor survival, according to research published in Current Opinion in Clinical Nutrition and Metabolic Care. And the rate at which telomeres shorten can be increased or decreased by lifestyle choices, including diet and activities. So, is later pregnancy one of those lifestyle choices that can stop telomeres from shortening? Well, that's still unclear. More research is needed to determine whether older maternal age at last birth causes telomeres to lengthen, or whether telomere length serves as a proxy for general health and corresponds with a woman's ability to have a child at a later age. Stephanie Fobin, MD, MBA, the NAMS medical director, said in a statement. But this isn't the first time research has shown a link between a later pregnancy and a longer life. A study published in Menopause, January 2015, found women who had their last kid after 33 had double the chance of living to 95 or older, as opposed to those who had their last one by 29. Another study showed women who gave birth after 40 were 4 times more likely to live to be about 100 years old. Holy shit, we're going to be like 300 years old.
I feel like this is really good news for all the moms who've reached out to us who are
It's good
concerned
for
with longevity.
Yeah, exactly. That was my thought too. I was like, oh, so I get to like tack on extra years at the end. So it's like, I'm still going to get that time. I'm going to be too old to do anything with it, but I'll be here to watch it, hopefully.
Right. We can
vision
just,
doesn't
you know,
go.
sit in our lawn chairs and watch it all happen.
That's really cool. And you know what? It makes sense that it is like new research because it's like women are having babies later in life. So the research is now being demanded and they are being forced to look into it more. So it makes sense that this is something that's now starting to be more developed and they're starting to notice that, as opposed to like, you know, 15, 20 years ago where they weren't really, there wasn't as much of a need or a desire to look into this type of stuff. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
That is definitely good news.
Yeah. Longevity is definitely a big concern. So this gives me a lot of hope. That's for sure.
So now it's like we have like superpower ovaries basically that are just going to keep us alive forever.
Yeah, for sure. It's our ovaries, 100%. So we hope you found something that was slightly encouraging about that, because we do get a lot of inquiries about like longevity and like just people wanting to come on to talk about their concern about longevity. So, and there are so many articles about it. I'll put them all in the show notes.
Definitely exciting news.
Yeah. 100%.
I really hope the people, like the names that were mentioned, don't end up listening to this podcast because I definitely butchered every single one of the names. I don't know what my deal is. Like, I literally can't.
I butchered a lot in this episode, so I'm glad that you're going to edit out all of that. There's a lot to edit in this episode.
Yeah, we're going to be ending this episode probably at like the minute and 50 mark is probably what it's going to come down to. And probably the entire length of the episode will be like 45 minutes.
100%.
By the time we take out like all the bullshit.
Yeah. So a reminder to our listeners that you get 20% off services at Ageless Medical Aesthetics in Westbrook, Maine, with the code MAMAS2024. You just have to follow them on Instagram, and I'll leave that in the show notes. And you also get a free first swim class at Goldfish Swim School in Portland, Maine, with the same code MAMAS2024. You just have to give them a call to see what classes are available and give them the code.
Oh, yeah. Let's end this before we make any more mistakes. Thank you for listening. Be sure to tune in next week. I will be in Maine next week. That is crazy. Follow, subscribe, rate, and review. Tell a friend, tell your mom, tell your dad, tell your dog, tell your child. We need everybody's support here.
You never know who's listening. For more info, you can check our website at geriatricmamas.com. You can also follow us on Instagram at geriatric_mamas, on YouTube at geriatric mamas, on TikTok at geriatric_mamas, on Twitter at geriatric mamas, and follow our group page on Facebook, Geriatric Mamas.
Can't wait to check out that TikTok. Hang out on TikTok. I'm just sitting here laughing because it's like when we first started this recording, I feel like we were like so professional and so like aware and so careful. And it's like this episode, like while you're reading, I got up to pee and get a snack. Like now we're closing out, like you're eating during like the outro. Like it's just like, let's wrap this up. Let's go. If you have a topic idea you'd like us to discuss, or interested in being a guest, or simply have a funny geriatric story to tell, you can go to geriatricmamas.com and hit be a guest or send us your story. We are officially done.
Bye.
Bye-bye.